It's Friday, which means it's time for Big Iron Realty Fridays in the Field. We've been following this field that's going to be turned into silage since before it was planted. And we get to see it harvested today as we catch up with Kevin Siffring just outside of Rising City, Nebraska.
Actually dry dirt now, Susan. Probably the first time you've been out here this summer that it has been. We've opened this up probably, well, there before you went to Husker Harvest Days, they opened this up. And now they came back because they've got a couple rains, obviously, like a lot of other people. And so now they came back once the other day, and then it rained again. So now this is the third time they've been in this field. But now I think they're getting around pretty good. And so they're cutting it and taking it down to the dairy a couple miles away, and pretty steady stream of trucks. Put it up first, then they dry it out, and so it dries out the edges and stuff so the wind can get in there, because as you can see, silage corn is very tall, and it provides a lot of shade, obviously, when that is, so it doesn't dry very fast. So as they go around, you can see in a few minutes when the sun hits it in the wind, it changes it a lot. So it's amazing how one pass they go will be muddy, and then a few minutes later, by the time they get around, it makes a huge difference in a few minutes of rain or sun and wind. Now it looks pretty good. You know, obviously the bottom, you can see that there where the hail beat that down, and those bottom leaves are basically gone now. And you can see where a few snapped off. You can see them laying dead in there in the bottom. But yeah, as far as a whole, it looks pretty good. I think I never asked Pat, he'll know more than me, but about that. But I don't know what the moisture is now on it, but I think he shoots for 68% after every so many loads are tested on the moisture. So well, the ears are pretty good. You know, obviously this is planted thicker for silage, so I think the ears look pretty good for the population I planted it at. So.
And Kevin said never in his life has he not watered a field more than when the manure was applied. But this year, the rains came just right, and the pivots never ran on the silage field.
Very blessed. Yes, the good Lord watered it just right here. So my goal is 32 ton an acre. So I don't know what that comes out to per per load, because obviously they're all, some are semis, some are straight trucks. So there's a semi going out right now. So there's a lot of different sizes in there. So very, very, very organized parade, I call it. So it's unreal what they can get done in a day, especially when the ground conditions get like this. When they have to pull them all, that slows it up obviously a lot, but it's amazing what they get done when it gets dry.
Kevin did mention that the pivot ran a few times early on in the spring, but that was to bring manure to the field.
There's underground all the way from the dairy clear up to north of me a few miles, and it goes over even west of the 12E spur here. And yeah, it's amazing how about 3 inches of this water is enough to raise corn.
Pat Klitz, who manages the dairy just north of Surprise, talked to me about the utilization of silage for their entire operation.
The 3 sites that we have here with our calf ranch, with our 2 dairies, we're going to harvest about 5,600 acres of corn silage this year. As of right now, today, I have 8 choppers running, and we'll bring in that whole harvest on 5,600 acres in about 14 to 15 days. So between the involvement of the chopping crews, the truck drivers, and the silage crew, or the packing crew that comes up, there's probably 30 plus people involved in the harvesting of our corn silage. All of our farmers pick their own hybrids. We don't want to run the risk of having something happen to where they're stuck with only a silage variety, so we're shooting for high grain content. We're shooting for a really tall plant that holds its maturity. Most of the guys will plant 116 to 120 day corn. We try to get it in first and take advantage of all the growing days that we have, and then it hangs on a little bit longer at harvest time. Most of the guys do a fungicide treatment, anything they can to help maintain plant health until we chop. We're looking for a high yielding silage variety that is averaging 28 to 30 tons per acre. Some of our farms do 34 ton per acre, some are a little bit less than the 28. But if we can reach that 28 to 29 ton average, we're pretty happy with the success of the corn silage that's grown here. We'll chop the corn out here in the field, and as we're chopping, we'll add an inoculant. The inoculant is some lactobacillus bacteria to help with fermentation. Then we also include some enzymes that help break down the plant cell walls a little bit more and allow more new sugars to be released for fermentation. The inoculants applied on the chopper. All the feed is hauled into the dairy, and every load is scaled. After the truck crosses the scale, it goes to the pile. We dump in front of the pile, and then we've got a tractor and blades that push it up and pack it. We use a progressive wedge, which means that we're mixing the feed out. We're laying it in at angles, and then we feed it straight out. So we're blending our harvest, our corn, our silage as it goes in, and then we get a real consistent feed out doing it that way too. A lot of the success in the corn silage program comes between putting it up at the right moisture and getting a good pack on it so it ferments well. If you don't get the silage packed well and it doesn't ferment well, you're going to struggle with that corn silage the whole year in terms of performance on the animals.
And you can't get that many acres harvested without a good chopping crew. Glen talks to us about the group he's got working for him.
We've had 2 machines running here. We started chopping helping on the dairy here in 07, helped again in 08, and we've been here with 2 machines full time since 09. We try and have at least 6, if not 7 trucks under each machine. The further away, of course, that you are from the pile, the more trucks you need. We try and have. So I've got 14 trucks running here, and 2 silage cutters. They are amazing machines. We run claws machines. We've got 12-row heads on them, 12 row 30-inch heads on them. We also run everything through a onboard roller mill that they call a crop processor that pulverizes the kernels, which helps in your starch digestibility. So it takes a tremendous amount of power. They're running just under 900 horses, what most of the machines here are running. Takes a tremendous amount of power to put all of that stuff through. It only takes about 3 or 4 minutes to fill a 22-foot straight truck, so it goes really fast. The machines are extremely efficient, and they really work good, and they've been extremely reliable for us as well.
Partner, I mean, they help us and we help them, so it's like you said, a big circle. It's how nice those choppers can stack it in there. So
I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network.
Big Iron Realty is truly a different type of real estate company. Our unmatched marketing reach and online unreserved land auction platform has positioned us as leaders and innovators in selling farmland. But what really sets Big Iron Realty apart is our family values. We treat you like how we would want to be treated. That means doing the right things for you. If you are buying or selling farmland, give us a call or visit bigironrealty.com.